In my travels around the world, I have met many a devout Christian who asks me what Jews in Israel think about Jesus Christ. And their face falls in disappointment often when I explain that I and other Jews here don't have anything personal against Jesus or his teachings, but one of the fundamental differences between our faiths is that Christians believe that Jesus is the Son of God and the Messiah, and Jews don't. But it turns out that there is a bit of an exception to that rule. And I am here in the old city of Jerusalem to discover more about this mystery, the Messianic Jews of Israel, a small group of Jews who practice the Jewish traditions while also believing in Jesus. And for this purpose, I am going to meet someone who's going to tell me more about this very interesting group of people. Hello. Here she is. Oriel, nice to meet you.
Wow.
How are you?
It's so good to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you as well. This is the main square of the Jewish quarter with our lovely Oriel,
That's me.
who is a Messianic Jew,
Right.
which we were talking about. And I was saying that, believing in Jesus and Judaism usually is not considered something that goes together.
No, the opposite.
So how does that happen? And what are people's reactions here in Israel? Because you live in Israel.
Right.
You're a citizen of Israel.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
How does it work? It works somehow. So we're 20,000 Messianic Jews in Israel. There's about 180 congregations. We call them congregations. And in the world, there's about 1 million Messianic Jews. So yeah, which is a lot, I think. But Israel is it's a very, very small community. It's so small that people tend to think that we're just a cult.
Yeah.
But it's important to understand, the definition of a cult is, a religion in which its members don't have autonomy over their lives. And that's not what this is. The fact that you don't agree with who I think the Messiah is doesn't make us a cult, So I think that's something really important to understand, because, any Messianic Jew that if you ask them about their faith, they'll tell you, but it's not this weird thing that people are trying to bring you into their congregations. It's like, you ask me about my life and about my faith, you're welcome to know. And so we see Messianic Judaism as Judaism complete, not something different. But Judaism, as we know it today here, they don't see it the same way, so they don't see me as a Jew. No matter if I've had, both lines, I'm Jewish from my mother's side, but it wouldn't matter to them.
Yeah.
So there's also for them a difference between if a Messianic Jew tries to make Aliyah, they will literally, and this is to the shame of our country a bit, they will literally search to see if you are a Messianic Jew in all these different unorthodox kind of ways. And if they'll ask you point blank if you believe in Yeshua, and because you don't want to deny your faith, and you say yes, they don't give you citizenship. And it doesn't matter if you can prove from both sides. So for them, you can believe in anything else. You can believe in Buddha, you can be an atheist, you can be an agnostic. If they understand that you believe in Yeshua, end game. I've had a friend that is Jewish on both sides, tried to make Aliyah. They went to great lengths to try and figure out if she's a Messianic Jew. And once they figured it out, they didn't give her citizenship, even though it's her right. So that's how they separate sort of us from Jews,
Yeah. Well, look, we bumped into a crowded area here, filled with visitors. The old city is always packed with visitors. So, yeah, my question here is this. So, first of all, what Oriel is saying, it makes sense to me, because in Judaism, you believe in Jesus, you're a Christian, essentially. That's the mindset.
Say, yeah.
That's the mindset. So you can't, if you're a Christian, then you don't qualify as making Aliyah, right? As someone who can immigrate to Israel under their Jewish identity. But there is something that's interesting here, which is that if you look at the early split between Christianity and Judaism, תודה, תודה.
We don't carry cash anymore. We don't even have lunch.
Yeah. So they should have a thing for the credit card. He wants a donation
They
for.
will have it in the end. You will see.
Yeah, a donation for one of those religious things, like the guy that we saw before. מה זה? הרב קנייבסקי.
הרב קנייבסקי, הרב קולדבסקי.
הוא חי עדיין או לא?
יש גם שמואל קנייבסקי.
אבל זה לא קנייבסקי המפורסם.
לא, יש גם ילדים.
ומה אתה מראה לי פה? מה זה?
הרב נטלי וג.
אוקיי.
14 ילדים שאינו החל, לומדים תלמודי תורה, אין מי שישלם את התלמוד תורה.
אוקיי.
ואין מי שישלם את הסמינר לבנות. לא נציל אותם?
זה תרומות אתה רוצה?
בדיוק.
This is, we have like the edge of the view of the old city. That's Al-Aqsa Mosque, yeah? Al-Aqsa Mosque right over here. Dome of the Rock we can't see because it's being blocked. But you go down there is the Western Wall, and this is, the holiest site of Islam in this country, right? Third holiest site of Sunni Islam in the world. Not of Shia Islam, it's the fourth, because there's a site in Iraq that's holier than Al-Aqsa Mosque in Najaf, which a lot of people don't know. Yeah. But there it is, that's Al-Aqsa. Judaism, Christianity split apart at some point very early on in history, because Jesus was a Jew and his followers were Jewish and
Are Jewish.
Yeah,
It's important for me to say, because people will try to erase not that you're trying to do this, but they'll try to erase your ethnicity, your Jewishness, because they disagree. But I give it a bit of a pushback.
So my question is, because I know there's a certain like that term Messianic Jew is a more recent one to describe a group.
Fairly.
But Jews who believe in Jesus is something that always existed, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, since he was about 2,000 years ago, he had followers who were Jews. We know that the Jews will reject the Messiah. And so since then, there has been a great rejection of the Messiah, we believe. And so that gospel that Yeshua brought was basically given to the Gentiles. And so a lot of Jews, they don't believe in Yeshua, apart from us 20,000. But I think it's like, look, I'm not against Christians. My dad was a Christian. My mom was the third generation Messianic Jew since the Holocaust here in Israel. And so I'm not against Christians in any kind of way. But I think the term doesn't represent well. Now, why do they call it like, so in Hebrew it would be Notzrim.
What term doesn't represent well? Messianic Jew?
No, the Christian. So in Hebrew you would say Notzri, right? Yeah. Why? Because Yeshua was from Nazareth.
Yeah.
And that's why they would call his followers Notzrim. Okay, that's fine. But within time, that term, within the mindset of the people, removed people's connection to their Jewishness. And so that's why I make a differentiation, and most Messianic Jews will do the same, because of the attempt to erase our Judaism. Yeah. And so that's why it's important for me to sort of like say like, hey, this term means something to us, because of where it comes from, that people try to do that. So
you practice all the Jewish holidays and everything, Passover and everything. So you're basically do all the things that Jews do,
right,
but also believe in Jesus.
Exactly.
So what are we, the other Jews, missing out on when we don't accept Jesus? Like, what is the most important element of his teaching that you think that most of the Jews in Israel, for example, who don't believe in him, are missing out on by not accepting Jesus as the Savior?
Right. So the concept, if you will, or the promise of a Messiah is not anything new. In Judaism, there's so many different streams and sects, and they all, some of them believe that the Messiah already came, and it was this rabbi and that rabbi. There's all, or they believe that, there's one in a generation that can come. And so we look at biblical prophecy and we cross-reference it with the New Testament. And so actually, there's about 4,000 cross-references over thousands of years, with the writers that aren't even related to each other, that sort of prove the connection between them. And we see those prophecies being fulfilled in Yeshua. And the difference there is what was the purpose of the Messiah? Mashuach lo Shia, right? Like he's anointed to save. Yeah. And so we believe that Yeshua is anointed to save, meaning to forgive of sins, so that at some point there's no, there used to be a temple here in the back, but it was prophesied that eventually there will not be a temple. And eventually it was destroyed 70 years after Yeshua. And we believe the reason for that is because Yeshua already gave forgiveness and he dwells in us. Meaning the ultimate purpose of Yeshua from the beginning, when we chose sin in the Garden of Eden, was to eventually that he, through his blood, because he was both, we believe, both fully man and fully God, He was the only one that had the authority to forgive of sins because his blood is pure because he never sinned, which is the nature of God. And he also gave us an example of how to live as human beings on this earth. So I believe that through Yeshua you receive forgiveness because sin separates us from God, and that is the ultimate reconciliation between us and God and eternal salvation. So I believe in a heaven and hell. Messianic Jews believe in heaven and hell. And so when you receive forgiveness through the blood of the only one who has never sinned, then you have eternal life within him. I hope that explains it. It's a bit complex if you've never heard of
Beautiful,
these
but
terms, but
look,
yeah.
all theology is very complex. We are going to get
That's
out of the
true.
sun
Let's get out of the
because
sun.
the sun is beating down on us. We're going to go get some food back here in the central area over here. Come, Oriel, we're going to eat some falafel.
Yalla.
It's glatt kosher falafel, and I know this falafel place because I brought Mahmoud the Egyptian. When he came to visit Israel, I brought him to this falafel place. You can see it in my video. I even recognize the salesman here. We talked with him about visiting Egypt back in the day. אתה זוכר שאני באתי לפה לפני שנה וחצי עם בחור מצרי? אתה זוכר? זוכר, נכון? הייתי עם הבלוג. בגלל זה אמרתי אני חייב לחזור.
حالك يا معلم.
تعرف
مصري انت؟
على مصر.
من وين من مصر؟
ومن وين العربي؟ من وين العربي؟
عربي طبعا.
انت.
انا بغدادي.
אתה זוכר את זה גם? נכון? הבחור המצרי. כן. חומוס, חומוס, טחינה, סלט ואמבה. ומה אתה אומר מה אתה אומר על הבחור המצרי? הבחור טוב, לא? נחמד שהוא בא לפה. יצא לך לראות אנשים ממקומות כאלה פה? וואלה.
יש שתי סוגים. יש את הפרעון.
אפשר לקבל חדשה?
קופטים. כן.
אתה קורא להם קופטים. הם קוראים לעצמם פרעון. המצרים, המוסלמים, הם פלשו להם.
כן.
לאדמות שלהם. אלה הפרעונים האורגינליים.
תודה אחי.
השאר, המוסלמים באו כבשו. בעלי הבית האורגינלי.
סיפור מעניין.
הבנת? לקחו להם את הכל בכוח. מלחמת ג'יהאד. מי שלא כמונו יישחט, מי שרוצה שיתנסלל. אתה לא מסכים איתי?
אבל חייתם אלפי שנים בבגדד. חייתם, לא?
חיינו כמו כלבים.
כן, עד כדי כך?
כולם כמו כלבים.
Alright, we got here. She's doing like a fake smile before the food.
No, I'm actually
You smile like
happy.
that every time before you eat. You do like.
If I'm happy about my food.
So like, yeah, she got shawarma, I got falafel. Cheers.
Cheers.
B'tavon, as we say in Hebrew.
Everyone.
Got some good falafel. How expensive? 55 shekel for shawarma.
It's the old
That's
city.
Almost $20. Insane price.
Cheers, right?
You better enjoy.
Right.
Better enjoy. So we're following the signs here a bit in the old city, looking for some interesting sites. Oh, by the way, take a look. We've just entered the Muslim corridor. We have some writings in Arabic, but also this is the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So it's a graffiti of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, or so it would seem.
You'll see that in a lot of places. It'll be there. There's another one, I think.
Yeah, here's another
That's
one.
Mecca? right?
This is the Dome of the Rock. So that's
Are
the
you
Golden
sure?
Dome,
Oh,
yes.
now I can see it.
You
It
can
was
see the
faded.
shape. That's the Golden Dome. The other one is Al-Aqsa. Some people get confused. They think the Golden Dome is Al-Aqsa. It's not. It's
Right.
the Dome of the Rock, and Al-Aqsa is the other one.
There's our signs.
Yeah,
It's easy to get lost here in the old city, so the signs are your best friend.
it's fun to get lost though here. But I was just, it's funny because I was talking to Oriel and I was saying, oh, like maybe we should like go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre because it's a site that's really connected to Jesus. And she told me, oh wait, by the way, here's a really nice graffiti of the Dome of the Rock, just showing
Just
you.
display.
Yeah.
Do-do-do.
she was like horrified almost. It's like, you say, we don't feel comfortable going to like places like the Church of the Sepulchre because it's like a Christian site and you are not a Christian, even if you believe in Jesus. So it's a different kind of theology and identity, right?
Yeah, look, I mean, within Christianity, there's a lot of different stream and denominations and sects, right? And in particular, they sort of have a lot of, statues of Mary. In Catholicism, you have a bit more of that. Actually, where are we heading?
We are.
So that's over there, yeah.
Yeah, this is the Dome of the Rock here that we were just talking about. No, I'm fine, thank you. This is the border police. They're guarding. Oh, we can't go here. So yeah, that's the entrance to the Temple Mount. But this entrance is a Muslim entrance. So that's the site that there's a bunch of entrances you can enter if you're a Muslim. And if you're not Muslim, then you have to go through the one entrance that's next to the Kotel, next to the Western Wall, at specific hours with specific limitations. Like you're not allowed to pray there, you're not allowed to wear any Jewish symbol stuff and things like that. And that's something that a lot of people don't know because they talk about like Israel taking over Al-Aqsa and stuff. And it's like Al-Aqsa is actually much more accessible to Muslims, that whole area, than to Jews, even though it is very holy to Jews. This is the site of the ancient Jewish temple. And the Western Wall that is so holy to Jews is just the remnants of that site. See a lot of religious people here as well. And yeah, so you're saying you don't feel so comfortable in that place.
It's an important, place for many Christians, and that's okay. Basically, in the Holy Sepulchre is where they believe that Yeshua was taken down from the cross and laid on this stone. And of course, it's not even like historically correct because it was outside the city walls that criminals were crucified. So it wouldn't be inside, but it's an important place for them, and that's okay. But I think what sort of we as Messianic Jews, we don't worship Mary, or we don't pray to Mary. We don't pray to saints, if you will. We pray in the name of Yeshua to the Father through the Holy Spirit. I know that's a bit complex, probably a lot to research there because we believe that they are one. But it's not a place that we connect to.
When I kind of like showed a bit of surprise that a site that is supposed to be deeply connected to Jesus is like not that important to you, or you don't feel that connected to.
Right.
And sort of that I was kind of like a little displaying the mindset of, if you believe in Jesus, you are a Christian, right? That's the Israeli mindset, or the Jewish mindset. Is like the hallmark of not being Jewish and of being Christian is believing in Jesus. And that also, like, they give your community a hard time here sometimes because of that.
Yes. I think that there's like a hatred towards Yeshua specifically, at the time where the religious Jews and Yeshua lived at the same time. It caused a lot of, I don't know if you want to say divide, but you could say divide in a sense, because he came with a theology, if you will, or a way of life, or a way of living or loving that I don't think that they were expecting. I think they were expecting, when are you going to come and restore the kingdom? And, because then they were under Roman occupation, right? And he came and that didn't happen. So in their mind, he was a false Messiah. But we believe that there's a timing for things. So we believe that Yeshua came and then there will be a second coming. So the kingdom is in the process of being restored, but the kingdom is the hearts of people. Yeah. Because he wants people, not just like the land, the people in it. So it's a bit of a different approach.
All right, we have to decide where to turn. Let's turn right.
I'm going to be careful so I don't slip because I've slipped off camera. But
this is, you go down the steps or you go down the ramp. And if you don't have the right footwear, then you slip. Oh, by the way, look, this is a really interesting view.
Look from here.
Yeah, I've never seen it from this angle. See the famous dome, it's just kind of like coming in through the...
It looks huge from here. You can't see it in the camera. It doesn't do it justice even.
It is big though.
Yeah, but like you can, in the camera, it probably looks small, but we're seeing it like, wow, I've never seen it from this angle that it looks so big. Yeah. I've actually never been, you know that? I should.
You should go.
Yeah.
It's not as difficult as they say, and you can even go with a camera.
Right.
And it's relatively okay.
Yeah.
I would say. So I was looking for the Christian corridor. We didn't find it, apparently.
I think the Kotel HaKatan could actually be like up there and like inside, because it's next to one of the entrances, I think. So you want to try?
Oriel here is talking about a site called the Little Kotel. There's the Western Wall, which is that big wall It's one of the only areas where like the original walls of the ancient temple stood, right? The temple atop which sits the dome of the rock that we just saw. And there's another section that's called like the small kotel, which is also like an original wall or something like that,
exactly.
but smaller and less well known, right? And it says here, HaKotel HaKatan, the small wall.
It's a very, in my mind at least, it's a very intimate place. Like, you know, the Western Wall, it's really, you know, big and there's a lot of people. And then when you come to the small kotel, the small Western Wall, it's quiet. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you? So, he called us mustautinin. He called us settlers. You see? He said mustautanin. But yeah.
It's good that you know Arabic because I would have never known
Oh,
that.
okay. So we're going to the small kotel, but no, here's another entrance to Temple Mount. So we don't want to go here, but the small Western Wall is where?
Here.
Here, over on this side. Okay.
And I think they just started renovating
Yeah.
it so that now it looks a bit different.
So yeah, here it is. Okay.
Alan.
Small wailing wall. They can call it like that as well. For Arabs, a lot of them, any Jew is a settler, you know?
Yes, that's true.
That's why it's like, it doesn't matter what part of Israel we're from, what part of the thing we're in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and here. Wow, I've never been here before.
Yeah.
Let's see, look how old these rocks are. Almost 2,000 years old. And you see here also, like in the main part of the Western Wall, that people put their prayers in the rock. So you write a prayer to God and put it in the rock and hope that it comes true, huh?
So for example, we were talking, you know, before that about places of prayer. I connect much more to the Western Wall than, of course, the Holy Sepulchre, because this is our history, you know. But even with that, I don't feel a need to go to a specific place to pray, because I believe that with that forgiveness comes His Spirit, and so He literally dwells, you know, within us, because He is the giver of life. And so I can pray here, I can pray at home, I can pray in the depths of hell and see it's still with me, you know. So that's sort of how I approach it. But it's history and it's amazing, and God is everywhere which you try to seek Him, in my mind.
Book of Psalms. The people here leave in the rock. Yeah. By the way, so yeah, those kids, they called us, like they saw that we were Jews, so they called us Mustautanin, which is what their name for the settlers. And I had that same experience, by the way, for example, when I went up to the Temple Mount. Because when you go up to the Temple Mount, it's guarded security-wise by the Israeli security forces, the border guards and all that. But from the religious perspective, the people who are religiously in charge is the Waqf. The guy that was talking about the Mustautanin, which is in Arabic means the settlers. So he's talking about the Jews that we saw earlier who were visiting here at the compound. That's something that I don't approve of, by the way, that you call any Jew who wants to visit the holy site as a settler. Why? Although they consider the whole compound to be part of Al-Aqsa, so not just inside the mosque.
Uh-huh.
So then, like, I hear the guy from the Waqf, and he's on the radio, and he's saying, like, oh, the Mustautanin are here, and da-da-da-da. So it's like, if the Jews are visiting the Temple Mount, they are like settlers visiting, you know?
Just automatically.
Yeah, of
all
course,
of them?
automatically. It's
Yeah.
not relevant to what part of Israel they're from, where we are, they are visiting, so they're settlers.
All the same.
So this is the famous Western Wall. We're not gonna spend too much time here because you've probably seen it in a lot of other places. Here we have some soldiers that are here a lot of the time in various programs. They come here, you see? So doing a prayer in front of the Western Wall. They do their finishing ceremony for their training they often do here in front of the wall.
عدينا طويل. انت لسه زعلان، انت لسه بعديه.
انا هو
انت
للزلمه الدور
زلمه ابني
للزلمه الدور.
All right, we're in a taxi here. Oriel, you're okay back there?
Yes.
We're going to a secret destination. All right, we got a driver here who's gonna take us. Very hectic, the area around the old city. A lot of traffic. Yes, difficult to drive here, huh? Not easy. Saib?
Yeah.
Saib. It's difficult. All right, this is where we go. A prayer to bring back the hostages.
So then on the other side, it's to cancel to cancel anxiety and stress.
Okay, we can all use a little bit of that, I think. There's some cross and an Armenian flag because there are those instinctive quarters of the old city, right? The Jewish quarter, the Christian quarter, the Muslim quarter, and then you have the Armenian quarter, which represents the Armenian community here in Israel, you see? And this is written in Armenian. It's a community that's very ancient, that goes back hundreds of years, not just in Israel, but other places in the Middle East, a diasporic community. A community that very much reminds me of the Jews, you know, around the world, that they're spread out around the world with their faith and their identity intact from ancient times. You see here, there's tomb of scientist Al-Sheikh Abdul Rahman Mukhir. So we have a important Arab Muslim person that's been buried here.
We're in the Garden of Gethsemane, which is what some say is where Yeshua would come and pray.
By the way, Yeshua, we keep using this term. That's Jesus, right?
Yes.
So it's actually a Hebrew name coming from Yeshua,
Right.
or Yeshua. And Messianic Jews don't call him Jesus, call him Yeshua.
Right. I don't have a problem with people calling him Yeshua. He is that in your language in that school. Actually, a lot of Jews, we were talking about this before, they call him Yeshu, which is an acronym of Imach Shmo Zichro, which means may his name be like cursed forever, basically, his name and his memory. So that's why we don't say Yeshu, but we call him Yeshua.
Not all Jews, yeah? I'm just saying there are
Well,
some.
most Jews just don't know. So they're just like, Yeshu, it's like Yeshua, but they
Yeah.
don't know why people would call him Yeshu. Yeshua would often come, so like if you imagine sort of where we're looking over there is where the temple used to be.
Yeah, the Temple Mount, as it's called, over there. That's
Right.
also where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is and so forth.
Yeah, and Yeshua would pray in the temple, that's one, but he would also, just to get alone and be with, you know, his father, Elohim, the God, he would come and pray on Har HaZeitim, on the Mount of Olives. The Garden of Gethsemane is supposed to be maybe around here, and of course, throughout history, Christians are like, this is where Yeshua was, so they plant a church.
Yeah, and look at
So-
this church. Amazing church. Look at this mosaic that you have here on the top. I literally never been here, and it's amazing. Wow. These things in Jerusalem, like you explore Jerusalem, is endless places to see.
Yeah.
That even if you're in Israel, most people have never seen any of these things. No explanations inside the church. So we're just going to take a quick video and then leave you to it. All Nations Cafe. Written in some other languages as well.
Hi. Are you a friend? Hi. Hi.
Arab coffee.
One Arabic,
Yeah.
one espresso.
Nice and hot.
It's only going to get worse in the next couple months. Summer in Israel, it's very rough.
This is just the beginning.
All right, look how far we've come up.
Ta-dam.
Yes, it's quite a climb here to get to. Well, you will find out very soon.
Surprise.
Yeah, mystery, surprise. And meanwhile, we're working hard for you here. Look at all those steps. Doesn't that excite you? We're almost there. Okay. Well, here we are, folks. This is the famous Mount of Olives. And look at all these tombstones here. It's maybe the oldest functioning,
Oldest functioning cemetery in the world.
right, active in the time of Jesus. We can see here, look, that is the famous Dome of the Rock. and the Temple Mount, Al-Aqsa Mosque over there, and on the other side, the Western Wall, and further out there is like modern Jerusalem with the high rises and everything. Wow, what a place, huh?
It's my favorite city, really. It's home. I feel like Yerushalayim just holds a really special place, in the heart because of everything that it's gone through. Like I tend to look at Jerusalem like almost like a person, like it describes in the Bible, like the daughter of Zion and everything that it's gone through. And I sort of see the people of Israel, the same. They've gone through the same journey.
What is the story of Mount of Olives? What happened on the Mount of Olives?
Everything that you see here wasn't back then. What you had was everything basically that was inside the city walls. And maybe there was a bit, outside, but it wasn't like you see now. There was no such thing. And so the city of Jerusalem was just that. And so what Yeshua would do is that you saw we went up from Gethshemanim, from the Garden of Gethsemane, and he would pray on this mountain. Now, where exactly, we don't know. If the camera swivels, you can see all of these little olive trees, and all of, the Mount of Olives is scattered with those olive trees. And of course, now it's this really, really big graveyard because many believe from all different types of religions that the Messiah will come back to here to the Mount of Olives. But something special from the heart that I always think about when I come to the Mount of Olives is actually, I used to work at a prayer tower that's one of the tallest towers here in the city. It's called Migdal Ha'ir. And I used to work there, and we would have these little prayer rooms that would look all around the city. And I would basically, every morning, I would go in there and I would pray. And I would see the Mount of Olives, and I always thought to myself, Elohim, lama po? Like, why here? The Mount of Olives, it's not like Mount Everest. You don't look at it and it's this magnificent thing. It's a very humble, some would even call it a hill, because it's not, this huge thing that you have to, we trekked up, but it's not, that crazy. And I thought to myself, and I asked him, like, why here? Why did we matter to you so much? And then I realized that if Yeshua, let's just say, was sitting here, he was looking at me. He was looking at the people that he loved, that he wanted to come and to save so that they can be with God forever, and not suffer anymore from, sin and death and disease and things like that.
So we don't have the dates on all these tombs, but look like it's written into the rock there. Some of these are really old that you can't really even see what's written. A lot of this plot, it's like people buried in the 1920s or something like that. So they're pretty old, but there are ones that are a lot older. You see here it's like a Star of David on it. And if you go further down, then you have more of these really old plots. סליחה, את יודעת איפה הקברים הכי עתיקים פה, בבית קברות? הכי עתיק, הכי ישן. באתם לשבת שבעה כאילו? רק יידיש? רק יידיש, אוקיי. לא, לא יידיש, אוקיי. תודה. Anyway, the cemetery is huge. Most of the tombs we saw they're written in Hebrew dating. So there's the Hebrew calendar. And most of them are from like the 1920s, like people who were buried here in the 1920s, which is of course before the establishment of modern Israel. But there are a lot of tombs that are a lot older than that. Over here, this is a huge cemetery. So this is just one plot, one area. Well, it's really great to be up here with you, Oriel. I can only say thank you for taking me on this little Jerusalem tour, or you took me, I took you, I don't know. we just wandered around and somehow something led us up here to the Mount of Olives. But yeah, it was really, really cool and interesting kind of hearing your passion about this place and Jesus Christ, and how you combine that with your Jewish faith. And that's really interesting and fascinating. And I'm glad you feel at home here, with even if it's not easy to be like a Messianic Jew in Israel. But yeah, no, it's been great. I'm really happy we met.
Yeah, me too. And I think the bottom line is like, look, we can go on forever about the things we agree or don't agree or believe or don't believe. But the fact that we can stand here together, share our different, faiths or beliefs, I think that that's the most important thing. The Messianic Judaism is a faith of love. And that's what allows me to sit with anyone who is different than me and be able to talk. And I appreciate having the opportunity to just hang
Yeah.
out and be here and see different perspectives
But
of
it's
the city.
it's in the end of the day, we're both Jews. You know, that's the thing. We believe mostly
Exactly.
in the same things, and
Right.
it's just like I said, there is like a perception in Israel that you can't be Jewish and believe in Jesus, which is most Jews don't believe in Jesus,
Right.
but it's possible to do so. So in the end, we are of the same people. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. All right, well, guys, a last view over here of this amazing viewpoint. We should have come here at sunset. It would have looked so much nicer, but you can't always get the logistics right. So that's all from this video. See you around. And oh, almost forgot Oriel's channel, because she's also a content creator. Oriel in Israel.
Oriel in Israel.
I'll put the link down in the description. You should really check out her channel for all the most amazing stuff about Israel, about the heritage and history here, Jerusalem. You live closer to here than me, spend more time here. So don't forget to check out her channel. That's my last thought. See you around, guys. Bye-bye.